What does Elon Musk think of the potential of social media? When it comes to one of the greatest and defining inventions of the 21st century, the internet is going to be at the top of the list. And Elon is cognizant of this fact. He even jokes around at the absurdity of it here. You can check this clip out to hear his views.
Well, I think the most remarkable thing that we do have today is the internet and access to all the world's information from anywhere. So that's having a supercomputer in your pocket is, I think, something people wouldn't have predicted, in Back to the Future.
Yeah.
So what do you think? It's pretty cool, right? Yeah, we thought so too. Let's move on to the next interview. So, what inspired Musk to get involved with the internet? If we look at this interview, we realize that the serial innovator actually has a long history with the internet, going back to his youth. And Musk says he has always been impressed and awed by the potential of the internet. You can take a look for yourself here.
I started out with thinking, okay, I'm going to do something in the electric vehicle space, and that's why I originally came to Stanford, was to work on advanced energy storage technologies, in particular ultracapacitors. So that was continuing on research that I'd done as an intern in Silicon Valley in the summer prior. So that's why I originally came out in '95. And then during that summer, I wrote some internet software, and I thought, okay, I can either work on electric vehicle technology, or I could sort of work on internet stuff, try to do something with the internet. And I thought the internet would be something that would dramatically affect the future of humanity. It would be like acquiring a nervous system. And whereas previously communication would have to occur almost by osmosis, from one person to another, or slowly through telephone or mail or something like that. But now, if you have a nervous system, any part of the sort of human collective can know about any other part instantly. Previously you'd have to be at the sort of Library of Congress, even to have the Library of Congress as sort of information. But with everything digitized and access anywhere, you could be in a jungle in South America, and if you had just an internet link somehow, you'd have access to all of humanity's information. So it would actually effectively create a superorganism and fundamentally change the nature of humanity itself.
You have to admit this man has a lot of brains, and he speaks with a refreshing clarity about what has become a part of life now. Now, when it comes to the internet, Musk knows there's another side to the coin, and he let everyone know what he thought about the uglier face of social media. He basically revealed the truth behind the picture-perfect reality people are trying to portray, and the darker side of this obsession. You can hear it all here in his own words.
One of the issues with social media, it's been pointed out by many people, is that I think maybe particularly Instagram, people look like they have a much better life than they really do.
Right.
So
by design.
Yeah, people are posting pictures of when they're really happy. They're modifying those pictures to be better looking. Even if they're not modifying the pictures, they're at least selecting the pictures for the best lighting, the best angle. So people basically seem they're way better looking than they basically really are.
Right.
And they're way happier seeming than they really are. So if you look at everyone on Instagram, you might think, man, there are all these happy, beautiful people, and I'm not that good looking, and I'm not happy. So I must suck, and that's gonna make people sad. So when in fact, those people you think are super happy, actually not that happy. Some of them are really depressed. They're very sad. Some of the happiest seeming people, actually some of the saddest people in reality. And nobody looks good all the time. It doesn't matter who you are.
No.
Now, he didn't just stop at detailing the issue. He went further and talked about what it does to everyone as a whole. And make sure you listen closely, because there's a lot of wisdom behind these words.
So I think things like that can make people quite sad.
Well,
just by comparison, because you just sort of people generally think of themselves relative to others. We are constantly re-baselining our expectations. And you can see this, say, if you watch some show like Naked and Afraid, or if you just go and try living in the woods by yourself for a while, and you'll learn that civilization is quite great. It has a lot of it. People want to come back to civilization pretty fast on Naked and Afraid.
Before we move on, if you like these videos, why not subscribe to the channel and ring the bell too? All done? Let's move on. In a return to his routine talks on AI and the dangers they pose, Elon once again spoke his mind on the risks associated with them. So, what are those dangers? You can listen to him talk about his own experiences on OpenAI projects and his insights into the issue.
I am concerned about certain directions that AI could take that would be not good for the future. I think it'd be fair to say that not all AI futures are benign, not all.
Okay.
And so if you have something, if we create some digital superintelligence that exceeds us in every way by a lot, it's very important that that be benign. And so actually with a few others, I created OpenAI, which is an AI. It's a nonprofit actually. There's no. I think the governance structure here is important. So we want to make sure that there was not some fiduciary duty to generate profit off of the AI technology that's developed. So we created this 501c3, but I think it's quite different from. A lot of sort of 501c3s are they don't have a high sense of urgency, and they're not they're not really sort of developing technology at a fast pace. But OpenAI is. So OpenAI has a very high sense of urgency, and I think that the people that have joined are really, really amazing. And the intent with OpenAI is to democratize AI power. There's a quote that I love from Lord Acton. He was the guy that came up with power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely, which is that freedom consists of the distribution of power and despotism in its concentration. And so I think it's important, if we have this incredible power of AI, that it not be concentrated in the hands of a few and potentially lead to.
And now that he's established a baseline for the risks, he then goes ahead to vocalize his concerns. Even without naming any names, he goes ahead and talks about the industry's future and some dangerous practices.
A world that we don't want.
And what world is that? What do you foresee that when you see it?
It's difficult. It's called the singularity because it's difficult to predict exactly what future that might be. Except I don't know a lot of people who love the idea of living under a despot. I don't think people generally choose to live in a democracy over a dictatorship.
You have to give the guy credit for being the only one constantly talking about this aspect of modern advances in technology. No one else is talking about this, and we're glad Elon took up the mantle. Now for this final look into Musk's thoughts, we look into his views of the future. What does he expect the world to look like 50 or 60 years from now? His fears and his hopes. And most importantly, how likely does he think that future is to happen? And as one of the most articulate men in tech right now, Elon does not disappoint. Rather than talking in certainties, he gave a brief description of what he thinks and hopes the future will look like. And that is a vision we would like to see unfold.
One thing that we can be quite certain of is that any predictions we make today for what the future will be like in 50 years will be wrong. That's for sure. I think directionally, I can tell you what I hope the future has, as opposed to maybe what it will be, because this may just be wishful thinking. I hope we are out there on Mars and maybe beyond Mars, the moons of Jupiter. I hope we're traveling frequently throughout the solar system, perhaps preparing for missions to nearby star systems. I think all of this is possible within 50 years. And I think that would be very exciting to do that. And I think we'll see autonomy and artificial intelligence advance tremendously. I think that's actually quite near term. My guess is in probably 10 years, it will be very unusual for cars to be built that are not fully autonomous. 10 years.
10 years from now.
Yeah. I think almost all cars built will be capable of full autonomy in about 10 years.
And now on that note, we must end the video. Hope you all enjoyed all of our picks for today, and if you did, be sure to leave a like down below. With that done, I'll see you all next time.